you off guard, and you know, that's when you're able to strike really efficiently. So and you know, especially in these kinds of maps, there's some potential information to be learned from the Root Sands star power, which has that damage over time within the sandstorm in the bushy areas in a map like this. That can go a long way as well. Surprised to maybe not see Buller. I really kind of enjoyed seeing that yesterday here on East Asia. I was massively surprised with the results of which it brought to the outcomes. But that's the sandy reservation that I have. I'm going to be keen to see how SK make it work, and I think it can absolutely work. And for that same reason, I think that we haven't seen it scrim much, so therefore maybe teams aren't as prepared to see it.
I likewise want to see the Bull because, you know, I always yearn for something new and refreshing here in Brawl Stars. Bull getting a rework, and alongside that, a quite major buff to his kit has propelled him to basically at like F tier to now possible to play. I feel like when you have an option like Lily, you just got to seize that opportunity. Once you get that hypercharge, which you get to earn pretty much by staying near enemy brawlers, and you can also help cycle the hyper by using your super, even if you're going to die. You're able to take down an enemy gem carrier. But check out the lane layout, and this is why I was actually quite surprised at the Jaeyong, is I expected Meg to be played at mid. We're seeing sort of a rotation on the lane as well, Sabine opting to go for the right side. But him playing this Meg, and also knowing what star power Meg is most likely to be running into a Lily, makes him a really bad target for Lily with her hypercharge, or even just a normal super.
Yeah, I really agree with that. I loved how OP was there for the support, because Joker was in a tough spot with the Jaeyong there. SK playing really well. Look at that. Beautiful stuff. I mean, this is the scariest brawler really for me on the field. The Lily that OP is playing so well, allowing so much space for SK to really get exactly where they want to be. Kaze for Marco, getting behind enemy lines here. He's in the back spawn side. He's still there now. Joker going to be trying to flush him out. Del So gem dropped though there by SK. Let's see if they can get to it. It goes to the hands of Novo. But already a really good start for SK. 7 gems in the back pocket. A hypercharge now for OP as well. He's been playing out of his mind here. So all things are going pretty well so far.
Just a couple more gems. Really 3 that SK Gaming need right now. Hypercharge popped by Ope. Not going to be given an opportunity to go for anything though. Still hanging on to it, trying to create pressure onto Subeam. Looks to be successful for right now, and also goes into the Shadow Realm briefly. Bizo's taken down in an extremely offensive maneuver that left him totally separated from his team. That sacrificing position, here comes Marco. He cannot get the kill onto Yoshi. If he had just a bit more range, he totally could have done it. And look at this, Yoshi has that hypercharge. He's going to be extremely defensive. Joker's helping the cause with a hypercharge super on the left side, and Marco has a hyper. Could really use a bit more damage to get his super. Takes the opportunity, goes to the enemy side, but cannot reach Yoshi, the desired target, and the one carrying all 10 gems for the squad. It's game 1 going to SK.
Yeah, I feel like this is SK Gaming back in business, really. It looks comfortable. It really did. I didn't really kind of feel like they were under too much pressure. Novo Esports was so slow to the mark, it's got to be said. And that cannot be the same story this time round. They need to prevent SK from just having that free reign over the mid and shutting down OPE. Again, they don't really have much of an answer for it. They've got the aggression of Kaze. She's not going to be doing much to defend in that regard. The Meg and the Jaeyong are going to have to pair together, which they have this time around. So definitely a better start. Yoshi's got 2 gems, but it's equal to that now of Novo Esports too. So much better communication from their side, clearly, as this game takes a different turn.
SK Gaming have gotten a tremendously successful start. We'll see Joker on the right side firing off some aggressive shots. Needed one more to take down Marco, but was unsuccessful in the maneuver. On the left side, OP's forced into the Shadow Realm. Going to rotate over towards mid, and he has this super immediately onto Subeam and DMX him. That's all he's really going to be able to get. Joker with the follow-up shots. 3-tap to take down the little Meg, but he's not able to live and tell the tale. Thankfully, Ope gets back into position, going to be able to get some damage off of Bizo. I thought he'd be able to follow up with a kill, but it looks like he didn't decide to go for it entirely because he's happy, he's content with just having that hypercharge. But maybe he shouldn't be too happy because Novo Esports are only one little gem away from getting a countdown for themselves.
Being very low here. Oh, Marco in the realm of OP is a 1v1 and OP comes out, but in the worst of spots, he's able to survive. However, the support from SK is unreal. Yoshi's got the hypercharge for defensive measures also, and that was a complete and utter daylight robbery. It's surely going to be then SK that take this set because Nova Esports are completely out of time. This Lily pick really was worth its weight in gold for SK.
That is why you pick the Lily. It is the comeback potential. It is the ability to upset the enemy gem carrier and put endless pressure on them. The last time we saw SK play Lily, at least according to my memory, was in the last monthly final, and they had Joker on that brawler, and I think he came under a lot of heat for the way that he executed on that brawler. I think Ope was just the right guy to put on this brawler this time. It was played excellently.
I do feel like, in general, SK has multiple players that can fulfill different roles, so switching it out is always possible, and I think for this time, it definitely had helped them. Ope did a phenomenal job on the brawler, and yeah, the draft in general, just super funny to look at. They pair those two meta brawlers, Lumi especially, with a Sandy that we haven't seen in such a long time, if only sometimes on double swoosh because of that close range mid, and Joker completely popped off on him too. Sandy is not meta whatsoever, Ark.
Yeah, no, and that's again a great reason as to why it's a great brawler pick. I think it's a great map for it. I was just a little bit on the fence because again, it's one of those brawlers which you kind of have to question just a little bit as to, you know, is it one that just SK just really tried and tested with that other teams haven't really cottoned on to in their scrims, and is that for good reason? And I think that SK really did make it work so well. You know, I think that it's one of those brawlers that I think maybe now others might try out again, but I've got to just draw attention back to the shining star that for me was this Lily pick. OPE there just with that still able to give SK Gaming the set win, and it was a brawler pick that you mentioned coming in, Sonny. I think it's a really tough one to handle, and that could be some question marks with how Nova Esports drafted around it and just didn't really kind of prepare for a player like OPE who's so aggressive.
We see a very similar picture right now in the semi-final number 1 that we have also seen in the quarterfinal number 4. Humble expected to win by far more votes as well from the viewers, but they struggled a little bit in the first set. It looked like Inner Circle had it. SK Gaming also struggled in that first game. They needed that time to wake up, and now they're here. They didn't even drop a single game. SK seem to have locked in right now already.
I think they have. They are hitting their stride at the moment. They're one set off of victory and advancement to the grand finals. Here on Kaboom Canyon, it's all about getting that mid control, and from there, destroying the enemy safe. I mean, that's the game mode, right? That's the objective. But Kaboom Canyon is unique and is especially set apart from the other two heist maps in the current competitive map pool in that you do need to have range at hand, and you do need to play for control. You cannot afford to just go ahead and base race. And SK Gaming are not even interested in entertaining that prospect. They've banned out the Miko. I don't think they want to play a proactive RT, so it's probably best for them to ban it when they have first pick.
The one brawler I'm waiting here now for is Bonnie. She's left open. She's probably the best brawler you can have because, as already mentioned, you have that range to hold your ground in mid, but also the aggression that you need to pop the bubble on the save when needed. Just do as much damage as possible in a short amount of time. Crow, we've talked about it before, Ark. I know he's your favorite brawler, but he has kind of fell off a tiny little bit ever since that change to heist, because you can't just pop multiple hypercharges on that save anymore. At some point the bubble will pop, Crow will get pushed away, and since he's so squishy, he then usually falls quickly.
Yeah, favorite brawler to cosplay. I'm not too sure in the game as much, but I do feel like watching, Crow today on Heist, I feel like it might be on the rise, honestly. I mean, with SK playing it, and it is a very SK Heist brawler pick. I think we saw it on Hot Potato earlier, and it did shred through the stages of the safe, and I quite like it for that reason. If it wasn't them playing it, I'll have a few more reservations on it. Back over then to Nova Esports, who take no chances with the Carl's A pick up. I quite like that for them. Carl available here, one of their top picks in scrims, one that would be quite a good shout. Amber's going to come through instead. Again, that mid then is going to leave no stone unturned, nowhere to hide then for SK Gaming, so I quite like that. Back over now to SK Gaming.
I feel like Amber is just one you got to pick if you want to run something at the enemy team that Moves forward relentlessly, but you don't want to have the proper firepower facing into it. So Intelligent here on the Amber selection can totally get outranged. There are abundant counters to deal with this. Usually it's stuff that outranges it. Just mind you, Amber also is going to be a good way to deal with stuff that, you know, can get in close range. Something like a Melody might be a bit of a difficult matchup into that Amber. Looks like Bonnie is the way to go for SK Gaming right here. Of course, there are ways to deal with that Bonnie as well. Things that are popular on this map. Belle always comes to mind for me. But you have to be mindful of how exactly do you keep this mid control? How do you deal with the Bonnie at the same time? Have to have some sort of defensive capability because Bonnie gets super so quickly. And she is going to be jumping on you.
Like the Bell shout for sure, Draco going to come in for SK. This is a really dangerous draft. I mean, there is potential here for Novo Esports to bring in the Melody. That's like a good shout for them. Maybe a Chuck even. They do have something of a base race because the Bonnie and the Crow, I mean, that's two really dangerous brawlers on the save, and the Drake is now to add to that equation. They haven't really got anything other than the Amber for defense, and that's the brawler that you'd like to kind of get up the map and have the Dancing Flames gadget to really attack the safe, and I think that kind of has got to stay back on defense. Tara's going to be on defense instead. I would prefer maybe the Chuck of the Melody, honestly. They're going to be on defense a lot with this kind of comp, the Crow, the Bonnie. I've got to side with this SK Gaming draft. I just don't see what Nova Esports are kind of like trying to cook here. I'd love to be proved wrong, but it's so hard to side with what is now one of the most dominant hypercharges in the game, and two brawlers that can just jump on the safe and shred through a stage.
The way that I see it at the moment, Novo Esports' mentality is, hey, wait, we get to dictate which bushes stay up and which ones burn, because they're the only ones who are capable of breaking anything with this Amber. So if they leave mid up, then it is a Tara's paradise. See if they are able to enforce that matchup. Here comes Ope in looking for the kill. He's already used his gadget, and he's going to be taken down by just a couple of cards. Wedging himself between the edge of the map and the Indestructible is one way to stay alive, though. Novo Esports are forced to rotate over towards the left side. Subim's just going to go for it, trying to hit some of these crit shots on the safe. Meanwhile, Marco is preoccupied with Ope pushing in on the right side. Now, this is a stalemate. If Ope pushes forward, Marco is going to deal with him quite handily, but that's what Joker's responsibility is going to be. Wait for this to be baited out on the right side, then move in for the kill and colossal safe damage.
Perfect from Joker, and the mark is on the save as well, so OP running the quick star power on the Draco as well, and that's what I was concerned about. Joker did really fantastic work there to bait out that Tara super first and wait the perfect time to strike. Here's some shots now on Biso on the right hand side. OP did not quite reach the safe. SK behind by 10%. The hypercharge of Yoshi could well change that, and a good time for the safe to get maximum amount of damage prior to the next stage. Is only 5% from there from the previous. Joker jumping in as well gets over that middle area, and now just 8% until that next stage too. But they do have to be considerate of this defense that's needed. Nova Esports got some very good damage, and if Kaze gets on the safe as well, it's going to be disastrous.
It's always about distraction. Have one person go in, and the other person takes advantage of the lack of pressure in one regard. You see Novo Esports doing their best to defend on the right side. They do get a kill on Ope. Here comes the hypercharge from Subim, but he's not going to be able to make much use of it. On the left side, that's a hypercharge in from Bonnie. She's dispelled in that offensive maneuver, and SK Gaming have kind of squandered a huge opportunity. Bizo's going to get some more damage here. Surely this is going to be dropped down to that final shield. Bizo's doing his best. Meanwhile, on the side of Novo Esports, that safe is likewise being dropped down, but Marco's thankfully able to get that defense. Final shield baited out from the side of SK Gaming. It just takes one more solid push from Novo Esports to eliminate it. That, or they just defend this last push.
Oh, OPE's got hypercharge in the top right, left-hand side. He's going onto the safe now as well. It's going to be an absolute base race, but they clear up Subim. Will he be able to get it? They also defended him. Yoshi with one final ditch attempt. Couldn't get the damage. Not going to happen. The stage was still there. And Nova Esports dodge a bullet. Lovely stuff, but will SK be able to bring this back? It was amazing to me that all the way through that game, Nova Esports were always just 10% ahead. Every step, every stage that went down, they always remained in that lead.
And respectable team play from SK as well. They knew what to do. The Tara was such a massive counter to that Draco, and they still managed to push it out of mid in the early game, and they kept it preoccupied with the Draco for Joker to jump in. But Subim does so much damage to the safe. Really, in only 4 shots, he's able to drop it down to 85. Joker's going to do his best, but that's the defense from Amber. Those dancing flames are catastrophic for anyone that gets caught in them. Even one can drop you down to just 1 tap. So that's why Amber is such a good defender here, but Crow is a great way of dealing with her, especially at range. Yoshi with the assassination in clears the way for Ope to start exerting his domain over mid. Couldn't get that shot onto Marco. What a read from Marco on the positioning of that Draco. Gets the kill, and Subim and Marco get to combine on this safe.
I think that defense booster kept Yoshi alive there as well. Hypercharge not going to be used, however, just to jump in to get the safe down for that first stage. I think that's probably wise now. OP would really like to get the utility. They've done a fantastic job on the side of Novo Esports to be depriving him of getting it too early. Joker's got his, though. If he can just get a super off the back of this, get stun potential on the safe and just go on the aggressive. Marco marked up, will fall. The trade, though, is there. And the heals here behind B, so might keep him alive, but Joker does finally win that matchup. Not going to get any damage on the safe, however, and it's a different story for Novo Esports, who take it down to 53%.
It hurts, but it was necessary because it provided some time for Ope and Yoshi to get up. So now SK Gaming do have mid control. Only problem is they are facing some pretty stacked opponents. Marco could go for the huge portal here, and Biso also has a hypercharge. And on the counter push, Novo Esports have the potential to get just unbeatable damage. As the clock is ticking down, it's time for SK to strike. They have 2 hypercharges in hand, now 3. Yoshi's gonna go in, trying to blast off the shield, gets it down to 50%, that's perfect. Now Ope needs to follow in with the second punch. They've got the jab, and here comes the dragon in to deal some more damage with the flames. It's just 34% remaining on Novo Esports is safe, and it's actually not looking that optimistic for them. They're behind by a single tempo. Now down to the 20 final seconds. Joker has that hypercharge, gonna go for it, look for the stun on Marco, unsuccessful. Ope and Joker look to combine. Just a few seconds left for this one to come back.
The timing was perfect there from SK. The strategy impeccable. You can see that Novo Esports went straight on the defensive because everyone had the utility, and the stages went down in the perfect way for SK Gaming to ensure it. And now a match point, 1 game away from today's grand final. If they can do that again, because that was so much more composed, and the communication around it, you just see that everyone holding that mid with hypercharges, buying down the clock, knowing full well they could just take their time with that and allow that big push to happen with little response there, or little time for a response there from Novo Esports. Very calculated stuff there.
Different lane layout this time. They're going to be sending Kaze up the right side. Yoshi is able to shrug it off, but Bizo is able to hold his thumb on the screen and auto-aim. Thankfully, Joker is there to save the day, trade out the kill, and take up the mid position and hold on. As a solo versus 3 enemy brawlers looking for an entry point. They're not able to find anything just yet. They'll use Subim as a sort of spearhead on the left side. He's creating pressure on the left. Meanwhile, on the right side, Ope has charged up his first super. He's looking to push in as well. Through the shades, no real issue. It's all a distraction. It's so that Joker can come in and look and try and stun like a couple of opponents before moving on to the safe.
Stun gonna miss, but the takedown is there. And now the right-hand side, OP and Joker gonna get safe down to a nice level of HP. Now Joker and Subim just dancing with the hypercharge. Subim gonna probably hit the safe here as well, and it does. Lovely from him. 80% and down to 76 now, and a hypercharge for Marco in mid. It's dangerous. Straight for OP, the perfect person for it. And the control is coming back alive for Novo.
The way that Tara used her abilities over there, you could tell that she really wanted to cycle out a hypercharge super, but was just short, maybe a couple of card contacts. Ope, despite his best efforts, is going to go down in the middle of a hypercharge. That's that game-breaking hypercharge that has brought Draco to the forefront of the meta, and it was not enough to get through this Tara at mid. This is exactly the position that Novo Esports want to play for, but they're only ahead by a tiny margin. Here comes Joker moving forward. Subim's doing his best in close range, but Joker now goes into the cannon to try and survive. Drops down the second shield. Novo Esports are behind by a single tempo. SK Gaming doing their best to defend at their home base. Marco with a hypercharge out to get some damage. In comes Subim to drop the final shield out of SK Gaming's safe. It's just a 4% difference between SK Gaming having shield and having nothing. They're going to do their best on offense to try and win the match here and now.
a bit of an open door, but there's still so much work to be done on the safe for SK Gaming here. Definitely against the clock as well. There's a good stage down, but they need another final push and a solid defense to do both at the same time. It's a huge ask. Sabim on the safe. There's a stage down to 24%, and that's going to be a huge thing for SK Gaming, who have got to get down to 25% and then wait the timeout. It's not going to happen. Nova Esports survive against that match point and take it forwards into the next. That was so crucial for them to earn.
This could be Novo moving on to their second grand finals. The last time they made it there, they won the whole darn thing. But it wasn't against a Humble, it wasn't against an SK, it wasn't against anyone that could be produced through our lower bracket. It would be a tough matchup awaiting them there, but they seem to be clawing their way towards that destiny.
SK could have been the first team to qualify for the World Finals last month already. They didn't make it out of quarters. That meant that they did not quite lock in their spot just yet. Yesterday in East Asia, nobody claimed that first spot either. So today, either Novo or SK Gaming, whoever makes it into the Grand Finals, will have their spot locked in. So this match means so much more than just one Grand Final or one semi-final win here. Terra was an interesting pick here. It used to be the Crow counter on lane that you want to have on your team. It worked out in the end, and honestly, to me, still that Crow is a pick that can work. In the old heist, that single Crow hypercharge from Yoshi at the end of game 1 could have won them the game, but they did not pop the bubble in time. And that multiple times. Game 2 looked a bit different. SK Gaming locked down middle completely, had complete control, so they were able to get those stages in quickly. But yeah, Nova was just too strong in that one. Nothing else to add to that.
Yeah, and I think the way that they handled themselves was really, really great. I mean, against the match point as well, and a really tough comp to manage. You can see that SK Gaming could make it work so well with the Bonnie, with the Crow, and the Draco as well. I think that was the key. Keeping OP suppressed and not able to get much. He actually wished the hypercharge at one point. That's a really long one to earn as well. So it takes a great amount of time, and it just wasted a lot for SK Gaming there. They'll be kicking themselves for sure, and that's not a mentality that you want to have going into a fifth and final set.
And again, whoever wins the next set, since we're heading into set 5, it all comes down to that one, will have their slot for the World Finals locked in. So really lock in, you guys. Those two teams, now it's now or never for them once again. A phrase that we've been saying a lot of times today. I feel it's now or never for so many of those teams really.
This is their chance to go ahead and seize things. Otherwise, they leave it up to next month and, oh goodness, hopefully not up to the results of other teams. That is the worst feeling, but also that's something that can happen when double points are at play, and that last month is so crucial and some things can slip out of your control.
We're heading over to Bells Rock now. Set number 5, the last set. We're gonna see one of those teams play today. The other one is going to move into the Grand Finals, where they face either Reply Totem or Humble. We're in Bells Rock, a map that we've seen a lot of times already last month and this month as well. And now I want to see what those two are going to show us. It used to be the map of Gray and Tick. Gray's banned out here. Tick, I'm not sure where his position is in the current meta, but we did see him yesterday, so yeah, let's see if EMEA is going to show us some of that, to me, most annoying brawler in the game, or not. Mark.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun draw for sure. Both teams have got their top pick here as Rico, and they've banned it out on the side of Novo. It's kind of rare brawler ban to see, but one that I feel is quite a worthy one. Angelo open for SK, and of course they're going to bag it. On the other side of things, Gus could be a good one for Eclipse Esport here, as it's again very good, very safe. RT as well, I feel like could be very much on their minds. I think the Grey ban specifically a very good call on their behalf too. I think as well, Jae Young here could be a very sort of brawler to consider highly. Bonnie potentially even, but can be a bit too slow and sluggish for my liking. Hank, if they really want to kind of replace this Ollie ban and have something tanky to consider here, that's first pick. Yeah, I think that makes a ton of sense for me. Again, you've got to have a long-ranged counter towards that. Angelo and Gus is the most picked brawler on this map in scrims. I think you kind of have to side with it in that regard. I think RT as well now wouldn't be the worst of shouts at all. Certainly for those later stages, you always want to have an RT consideration highly in knockout.
That Plus, you're going to be marking enemies when you hit them in the detached form. You can call it the Jackie form because that's basically what RT becomes when it uses its super. So you're looking at even more damage. Jae Young, this is one that you mentioned, super synergistic brawler. Novo Esports are going to be playing a couple of supports already. I do trust in Gus to get some solid damage, but not looking at kill confirms with this guy. You're able to retreat most of the time when you're steering a Gus shot down the barrel. The only risk is if he has that gadget online, and if you're at the pro level, then you're counting shots. It is simply a different game. We're talking two teams that are in the top 4 in EMEA. RT, another one that you called out, Ark, just a top selection here for the reasons we already mentioned.
Yeah, good stuff from SK Gaming. Really liking what I'm seeing here for sure. They could go long range, or they could play a bit of a risky tank. Kaze could be an idea, but it's not going to do much for the early game at all. Daryl has been floated around by them in the past. Bell, some other sharpshooters like that. The long range kind of affair is where SK Gaming like to play on Bell's Rock, so there's a couple there, even Mandy, but I think it's too risky in this meta for it. But it is an SK idea, which they like to float around sometimes. Sprout, final pick, but not really in total, because Nova Esports now, they can just hard counter this, surely.
It is possible they could get in close range. You know, do they want to go the Kenji route? Do they want to get some sort of Kaze? Or, hey, just a different thrower, right? Is this a Grom type of day? Tick, there you go. Tick on this map usually makes it quite difficult to switch up the lanes, so maybe Novo Esports can find a way to get their optimal lane matchups. Versus the brawlers on SK Gaming, though, this is what I'll tell you. No one wants to face the Angelo, and I don't think anyone's too interested in facing the RT. It's definitely the easier matchup. The KO potential from him isn't quite as strong as it is for Angelo, and you don't have the concerns about feeding an eventual super or hypercharge that will be your win condition when the poison forces everyone closer. But I'll tell you this, most of the time, Tick does beat Sprout. Sprout's just not really equipped to deal with the Tick super, that kind of aggression that results from spawnable that targets itself at your enemy. Well, watch that 1v1. The career of these two throwers at mid with great interest, and analyze some really pokey gameplay on the left and right lanes.
Tick, a very good brawler on this map. Don't get me wrong. My only reservation being is the fact that this is like the final set. Like, if this doesn't work and you find yourself in a 1v2 as a Tick, it's a very tough position to find yourself in. So I'm really going to be paying attention to these lane sides and what happens when it's, you know, one man down for Novo potentially here. Speed surviving just on that right hand side, going to be healing up now accordingly, bringing the speed in as well to get back into position. Yoshi doing a great job of just mirroring his movements there, tapping him up as well, down to 2000 HP. And SK doing, as SK do, good amounts of control, great awareness of that Tick head. And Joker and Yoshi really went to town on it very quickly. There's the Weekend Warrior gadget. Oh my word, Yoshi just survives there with a helping hand. Oh my word, so close. Now knocked back from Marco, but Nobi should be able to clear this up, I want to say, and he will do just that. So SK Gaming, with a good start the first round, goes their way.
Marco got away with quite a lot there at the end. He's well on his way to a hypercharge, which in fact he has gotten. But he needs to get towards that next super to provide the appropriate pressure versus this squad. If he's running the thick head star power, then Ope won't be able to one-shot it and is going to require some assistance from Joker to get rid of that threat, the spawnable that auto-targets an enemy. We'll see the same matchups ensue, although Joker is deciding to start targeting this left side. SK Gaming are looking for a way to make this more deterministic, you know, not as reliant on getting in close range and sort of hoping for the best, sort of being put under a lot of pressure towards the later stages of the round.
Good taps from OP on this left side, and they are being held back. Oh, we put the gadget there and didn't quite even go for the wall in the end, but a bit of hesitation for sure. There's the hypercharge there of Marco taken care of, but Yoshi cannot move forwards. Those mines, as people forget, do really sting. You go down instantly. Oh, Joker really went misstep there. He's so low, but OP might not have the gadget on the reset side of things, on the cooldown, to be able to utilize there. And now in a 1v2, he's just bang out of position here, going to go down very swiftly, and utility available for Nova Esports in a really pinnacle round.
This feels like a very different kind of Brawl Stars. You got modern brawlers, but a very old-fashioned play style on this map that's been in the game for a while. super passive, very pokey, all about these long-range matchups. Big difference, though, over the last time we saw this kind of gameplay is, well, hypercharges exist. That's how old-fashioned it is. Here comes a hyper out from Joker, in fact. He's going to split off Jaeyon and Marco, but they won't really capitalize on it. Joker's looking for some range versus Marco, and Overgrowth is threatening to help him hit some of those shots at long range, but it's not really doing all that much so far. Though SK Gaming are aiming to do one thing, which is get positioning at mid, at which they've entirely succeeded.
Taps again from Yoshi. Now the gas closing in as well. That will force the hand of Novo to push forwards. And he's again still marked up, but full HP now. Has got the shield, and now will be the absolute time to consider using it or protecting a teammate with it. Shots being landed down by Joker. A wall there will leave a little bit of a tile to escape through, but it actually feeds the channel, and down goes Biso as a result of that. Weekend Warrior, though, going to be a trade. Joker and Yoshi surviving on here. Taking care of Yoshi in a great position now as well. Allow Joker to finalize it out. And SK Gaming, they get the game. It's match point for them.
Two heroic efforts from Marco, though. In the rounds that they were taken down, naturally Tick, the most passive brawler, is going to be the one that is alive last, but both times he got his enemy down to one tap in the end. Even got a hypercharge out there. Much respect to this guy. He could be the difference between SK Gaming going ahead and taking the match here, or Novo headed on to a double match point. He's been very, very valuable for the roster. Once more on the gameplay. What? Okay, Joker's learned to walk in a straight line and has gotten them positioning. Didn't look like Marco was ready for that at all.
SK Gaming are 2 rounds away from being the first team in the world to lock in a ticket to the World Finals. Let that sink in. This is now the time to lock down and ensure it, because then next month they can just sit back and relax. They'll take their foot off the gas, but definitely it will be a massive celebration for them tonight if they can just get this final hurdle done. And so far, so good. Again, both teams just feeling each other out at the moment. Sabine having that super, using the speed for now, but surely will consider the heals if his teammates require it. Tick head out. So swift as that. Joker and Yoshi are absolutely on point with securing those takedowns as you need to have. Weekend Warrior gadget. Sabine gets the kill as a 3 versus 2 now in favor of Novo, and a very swift clear up. That was convincing as a turnaround, and you've got to have that against the match point that they've already been able to go against once. They're doing it again.
Novo Esports put so much pressure on Joker there. That's how they were able to get that done. Because Joker was forced into close quarters where he's going to be able to do pretty much nothing, and at least Marco can throw down a minefield right on top of him. That's going to capitalize on when brawlers need to group up in a central area. Towards the end of the game, you can just put a minefield down there, maybe even a super, to get additional guaranteed damage. Novo Esports can just hang on to the later stages and keep their positioning like they did in last round, then we very much are headed to a double match point, threatening the position of SK Gaming as the first team to lock in the World Finals in this region. So far, SK Gaming are doing a pretty solid job of moving up. In fact, this is probably the best they've done so far. They're closing in, looking for the early game kills, possibly onto Tick over here. Marco's going to pop that hypercharge and the super. It's denied by the Sprout. And here comes the pathing of the Tick super around, going to amount to nothing. Marco out with the spins because he knows that this round is over, and this one is going to go to the ultimate round.
Such an important trade, and OP on their right-hand side, I've got to give a big shout-out to, because that was a very big amplified poison shot that forced out the Gush shield, and he held his own on that right-hand side for sure. Now, SK, 1 round away. Again, this is World Finals on the line here for them. They need this to be able to lock themselves in and be the first team in the world to do so. Big taps into the middle. Marco low as a result. Going to be healing up now. And a huge wall for Joker. Gets rid of the bush. Allows his teammates to push up. The gadget pop there from OPE. Shredding through that wall. Keeping Novo under pressure. This is exactly what we need to see from SK. And Joker's got another wall. It's just herding the sheep into a corner.
Novo Esports are being pushed back. Here comes a hypercharge out from Ope, looking to punish. A huge shot on Abizo would guarantee the kill, but they're hanging on just a little bit longer. Hypercharge out from Joker, closing Novo into this corner. Zubim's doing his best. He's got the speed to move these guys out. Bizo hanging on by a thread. SK continue to punish Novo as they try to regroup in this back right corner. Marco no popped out of position. He's the first to fall. SK Gaming are 3 members strong versus 2. Zubim falls next. Bizo, the last one to go. go. And SK Gaming, this team with perfect attendance, are now graduating magna cum laude. They're going to the World Finals.
As Pedro says, no struggle, no SK, but in 2025, they made it look very easy breezy. You gotta say that. What a huge result. This year for them has been solid. Their best year yet, I would say. And looking ahead to the World Finals, that is a dangerous prospect. Teams around the world need to be paying close attention to SK Gaming.
Congratulations to Joker, Ope, Yoshi, and of course also Pedro and the org itself. SK Gaming for qualifying as the first in the world and lock in World Finals already. Really well played here. They could have closed it out a little earlier, maybe had a match point almost done, but in the end, Novo has stood up to them, have given us one more beautiful, beautiful gameplay here. Novo, just like SK, they have perfect attendance so far as well. So as long as they qualify for August next month and make it into the semis again, they are also locked in for World Finals. So it's not over yet for them. For every Novo fan out there, you can still be optimistic that you'll see them go straight there as well. Well, with that now, SK Gaming waiting in the finals. And we're yet to see which of those two Italian rosters or the Italian orgs will make it to the grand finals as well ready.
I cannot wait for this one. So there's potential for Reply Totem to do the unthinkable. They won their matchup versus Heretics. I think that was their primary objective, but they've had plenty of time to go ahead and start preparing some stuff or expand on what they already had for this semifinal. For Humble, though, much different objective. They are just aiming to meet SK in the grand finals like they have all year.
And if we are following the same pattern, like you said, ready, then Humble and SK Gaming would meet in the finals again. It's been every second month that those two teams have been facing off against each other. Who will take the throne in the end? Reply Totem, Humble, or SK Gaming are still in the race. And you, once again, have some time to get something to drink. It's important to hydrate in the heat that we have right now. And also lock in your predictions over at event.brawlstars.com. See you in a second.